Is it good? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in about 10 minutes, so please start to take your seats. Thank you. 10 minutes.
Wes is up.
The ceremony will begin in about 1 minute, so please take your seats and silence your cell phones. Thank you.
Yeah. Today marks the beginning of the future USNS Lucy Stone TAO 209. Lucy Stone was an early advocate of anti-slavery and women's rights and dedicated her life to these issues.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to General Dynamics NASSCO. We are pleased that you have joined us today to be part of a long-standing tradition of christening a U.S. naval ship. The tradition continues today as we are set to christen and launch the USNS Lucy Stone TAO 209. My name is Brian Jones. I'm your Master of Ceremonies this morning. On behalf of the men and women of General Dynamics NASSCO, who labor in our shipyard every day, it is my honor to represent them and to welcome you. I'd also like to extend a very special welcome to those who are watching the ceremony via the live stream. Will the guests please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of colors, our national anthem, and the invocation. Lieutenant Commander Amin Grant, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy. Captain Lee Apsley, United States Merchant Marine, Ship's Master. Captain David Hart, Supervisor of Shipbuilding, Bath. Mr. John Lighthammer, Auxiliary and Special Mission Shipbuilding Program Manager, Program Executive Office, Ships. Captain Micah Murphy, United States Navy, Commander, Military Sealift Command, Pacific. Rear Admiral Thomas Anderson, United States Navy, Program Executive Officer, Ships. Vice Admiral Jeffrey Jablon, United States Navy, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Installations and Logistics. The Honorable Meredith Berger, Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Energy, Installations, and Environment. Our principal speaker and the 78th Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Carlos Del Toro. And finally, our ship sponsors, Ms. Alicia Adnison and Ms. Deborah Simmons, escorted by the President of General Dynamics NASSCO, Mr. David Carver. Navy Band Southwest will now render honors to Secretary Del Toro. Color guard, parade the colors.
Platform and salute.
Ready, go. Now, face. Freestyle, on.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Color guard, retire the colors.
Platform, ready, 2.
Lieutenant Commander Amin Grant will now deliver the invocation. Chaplain.
Let us pray. Gracious God, this anthem's a warrior song, with bombs bursting in air, together with our history, is succinctly summarized as, you've got to fight for your right to be a free country. You allowed this land, our land. She is analogous with Lady Liberty, her DNA cut with the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that we are all created equal. This DNA, conceived in the Revolutionary Rebellion, birthed in the bloody Civil War, this land, like a womb, she feeds us with her fertile fields. She fuels us with her umbilical cord of natural resources. She nurtures us with her commerce and launches each generation since 1776. Her name is Lucy Stone. With this same DNA, her life fed a movement of gender equality. Her efforts fueled the fight against racial injustice. She nurtured these self-evident truths, and she launched inspiration for change. In our America, we revere legacy of leadership. This USNS will bear her name, and someday she will come alongside a warship with our green and blue warfighters. And instead of an umbilical cord, lines will be shot forward, mid, and aft. And like only an American warrior mother can, the Lucy Stone will feed devil dogs and sailors. She'll fuel a warship to include JP-5. She'll nurture their navigation, maybe providing spare parts, and launch them towards mission success. So God, we thank you for Lee Greenwood's song about your faithfulness. We're proud to be Americans, where we fought to be free. And we won't forget this ship that sails to provide this right from the seas. And we proudly christen her to defend democracy. Because there ain't no doubt we love this land. God bless this ship, her future crews, and the USA. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Let's give a big round of applause to the Naval Band San Diego, Color Guard led by Bosun's Mate Second Class Keith Blair, and the band from Navy Region Southwest led by Lieutenant Matthew Shea. A wonderful job as always, and thank you so much for being here. Before the start of this morning's ceremony, the ship sponsors and their matrons of honor were presented with a bouquet of flowers by our ceremonial flower girls, Elizabeth and Abigail Carrillo. Elizabeth and Abigail are the daughters of Lindsay Carrillo, manager of cash at General Dynamics NASSCO. Elizabeth and Abigail, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you both so much. And our matrons of honor, when I call your name, will you please stand and be recognized? Miss Caitlin Shearer. Miss Elisa Simmons-Banks. Miss Jennifer Simmons-Gard. And Miss Jillian Simmons-Sharon. Thank you all for being here. We're also very fortunate to have many of Debbie and Alicia's family members with us today. Would all family members in the audience please stand as you're able and be recognized? Thank you all for being here. I would also like to recognize several distinguished guests who are in attendance. From General Dynamics, the Executive Vice President of the Marine Group, Mr. Rob Smith. Vice Admiral John F.G. Wade, United States Navy, Commander, 3rd Fleet. Mr. Thomas Rivers, Executive Director, Amphibious Auxiliary and Sea Lift Ships Program, Executive Office Ships. Ms. Jana Paulzin, Deputy Program Manager, Auxiliary and Special Missions Shipbuilding Program, Executive Office Ships. Mr. Ton Carr, Military Sea Lift Command, Senior Owners Representative. Force Master Chief Stephen Bosco, United States Navy, Commander, Master Chief, Military Sea Lift Command. Our Trigger Honoree, Mrs. Debbie Carver. Shore Removal Honoree, Mrs. Robin Lighthammer. Vice Admiral David H. Lewis, United States Navy, retired, Senior Vice President, Operations Manager, Maritime Business Leidos. Mr. George Whittier, Chief Executive Officer of Fairbanks Morris Defense. Mr. Joseph Mullen, Chief Operating Officer of Trident Maritime Systems. Mr. Wanaso Ju, Executive Senior Vice President of LS Cable. The Honorable Donald Winter, 74th Secretary of the Navy. Ms. Allison Stiller, President of the Society of Sponsors, former Principal Civilian Deputy to the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition, and sponsor of the USS Mississippi. Ms. Rose Magnus, former President of Society of Ship Sponsors and sponsor of USS Green Bay. Mrs. Linda Winter, former President, Society of Ship Sponsors and sponsor of USS San Diego. Ms. Rosalie Calhoun, former President, Society of Ship Sponsors and sponsor of USS John C. Calhoun. Mrs. Anna Mae Meyer, spouse of Rear Admiral Wayne Meyer and sponsor of USS Wayne Meyer. Ms. Ann Zumwalt, daughter of Admiral Elmo Bud Zumwalt, Jr., and sponsor of USS Zumwalt. To the rest of our audience, thank you for all attending and ongoing support of the men and women of General Dynamics NASSCO. Now it's my honor to introduce our first speaker this morning. Please welcome the President of General Dynamics NASSCO, Mr. Dave Carver.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Secretary Del Toro, Secretary Berger, flag officers, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the entire General Dynamics NASSCO team, it's my distinct honor to welcome you to the christening ceremony of the USNS Lucy Stone TAO 209. Secretary Del Toro, it's good to see you again, and thank you for joining us on this special day. Alicia and Debbie, you've probably done more of these ceremonies than anyone here combined, but never as a sponsor. And I'm truly honored to share in this moment because this is going to be a special moment, very unique, and I'm glad to be here with you. Being a ship sponsor is a tremendous privilege. We know it's the ship takes on the character of the ship sponsor, and we have two individuals who through years of experience know exactly how important this role is. Miss Alicia Adnison and Miss Deborah Simmons have been supporting Navy shipbuilding programs for decades. They are the ones behind the scenes who work with NASSCO and all other U.S. shipyards, making sure each ship christening, keel laying, mast stepping, and all other ceremonies are special and memorable for all individuals involved and in attendance. Alicia and Debbie, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the years of support that you've given NASSCO. As you made your way to the ceremony site this morning, you might have noticed there's a lot going on in the shipyard. You can still hear the noise of the workers underneath the ship right now. So to name a few, behind you is the TAO 210, the USS Sojourner Truth, the next ship in the John Lewis class of fleet oilers. Behind me, taking shape in our graving dock, is ESB 8, the USNS Hector Cofferado Jr., partially constructed. On my left is ESB 7, the USNS Robert E. Seminac. The ship was delivered to the Navy last week. The TAO 208, the USNS Robert F. Kennedy, is at the far end of the shipyard and will go on sea trials next month. Lastly, taking Lucy Stone's place after she launches will be TAO 211, the USNS Thorogood Marshall. You can see the steel blocks for this ship all around the shipyard today. As I maneuver through our ship roster, you can only imagine the level of planning, coordination, organization, and responsibility that goes into constructing these vessels all at the same time. None of this happens without its challenges, but as shipbuilders, we understand the work we do serves a purpose greater than ourselves, and a purpose I know we all take enormous pride in. The men and women of NASSCO are a community of highly trained, highly skilled individuals. From design conception through delivery, we come together each day with one common purpose: to build the finest ships that sail the sea. The fact that we are here today underscores the extraordinary effort the men and women of NASSCO deliver day in, day out to accomplish great things. Currently, there are still over 150 employees accomplishing the last tasks that will allow this ship to slide into the water. Some key members of the NASSCO team I'd like to recognize today are David Solano, Production Supervisor Electrical, Billy Morgan, Senior Maintenance Engineer, and David Zavala, Warehouse Supervisor. Would you stand, please, and be recognized? Please be seated. Thank you for your impact in playing a key role for NASSCO. I would also like to thank PEO Ships, Soup Ships, and NAVC. Without their combined efforts, we would not be here this morning. Could I get a round of applause, please? So speaking on behalf of the entire shipbuilding team, we are justifiably proud of every ship we build, and each is special as the next because of one important factor: the namesake. Lucy Stone was an early advocate of anti-slavery and women's rights and dedicated her life to battle inequality on all fronts. In 1850, Stone organized the first National Women's Rights Convention in Massachusetts and later formed the American Women's Suffrage Association. She was an American reformer, a pioneer, a woman of great charisma. She toured all over the country lecturing against slavery and advocating for women's equality. She stayed committed to advancing the cause for women's rights up until her death in 1983. What we christen today is not just a ship. The USNS Lucy Stone is the embodiment of American unity and purpose, a beacon of freedom that will carry Lucy Stone's legacy and the legacy of America all over the world. This ship is 2.5 football fields in length, coming in at 746 feet, and can sustain a speed of 20 knots, or 23 miles an hour, for more than 7,000 miles. That's the distance from San Diego to Taiwan. She can carry nearly 7 million gallons of fuel, 9,000 square feet of dry and refrigerated cargo, and has the capability of replenishing 3 ships at the same time. The USNS Lucy Stone is an impressive feat of modern engineering and construction. On behalf of the 4,800 employees of General Dynamics, I am proud to present the USNS Lucy Stone for christening to our sponsors, Ms. Alicia Adnison and Ms. Deborah Simmons. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next, please welcome Vice Admiral Jeffrey Jablon, United States Navy, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Installations and Logistics.
Well, good morning, and what a great Navy day. Secretary Del Toro, Secretary Berger, Mr. Carver, Mrs. Adnison, Mrs. Simmons, General Dynamics, National Steel, and Shipbuilding Companies executives and shipbuilders, partners from the defense industry, fellow warfighters, and distinguished guests, thank you for joining me on this fine Navy Day. I'm so excited to be back in San Diego to participate in the christening of the USNS Lucy Stone. It is truly an honor and privilege to stand before you today on behalf of the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, and the men and women of the United States Navy. The name Lucy Stone carries with it an inspiring legacy. Named in honor of a pioneer and steadfast advocate for anti-slavery and women's rights, Lucy Stone's relentless activism broke barriers and helped pave the way for future generations in the name of equality. The Lucy Stone will be a shining example of strength, a champion of freedom, and a testament to our commitment of those who will serve aboard her. USNS Lucy Stone is really an impressive vessel. Just look at her. She joins the Navy's John Lewis-class fleet of replenishment oilers. This class of oiler boasts remarkable oil storage volume, extensive dry cargo capacity, and aviation capability. The vessel is equipped with double hulls to safeguard against oil spills and reinforced cargo and ballast tanks. These TAOs will enhance the Navy's combat logistics force and serve as the foundation of the fuel delivery system, delivering uninterrupted intra-theater replenishment capabilities for the Navy in areas of the world that are rarely seen. This ship and those who will man it are unsung heroes, absolutely essential to the ability of the Navy to execute its vital global missions. To the shipbuilders and engineers who had a hand at crafting this vessel, your skill and dedication have created more than just a ship. You have built a tool of strategic strength and expanded the Navy's foundational warfighting capability. We recognize the countless hours that you have put in to ensure that she is ready to take on whatever comes her way, supporting our fleet at the right place, at the right time, across the competition continuum. The launch of the Lucy Stone provides our sailors with the support needed to achieve 2 strategic ends outlined in CNO's navigation plan released this week. Readiness for the possibility of conflict with the PRC in 2027, and enhancing the Navy's long-term advantage. We are committed to maintaining our effectiveness as warfighters in a world that is dangerous, complicated, and interconnected. With this ship, we pledge to uphold the highest standards of excellence and to honor the legacy that comes with her name. Fair winds and following seas to the crew of the USNS Lucy Stone, their families, and their many voyages to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral. Please welcome the Honorable Meredith Berger, Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Energy, Installations, and Environment.
Alicia, Debbie, for so many years I've watched you set the stage. Ceremony after ceremony, milestone after milestone, ship after ship, as we've built the fleet of the world's greatest Navy. What a moment it is to see you take the stage today, your rightful place. Over the course of the last several decades, your hands, your heads, your hearts have launched the modern fleet. You've brought it to life. You've been the consistent keepers of our maritime dominance. Like so many present today, I've had the privilege of learning from you, the benefit of your kindness, your wisdom, and your unrelenting resolve. I strive to emulate the example that you set for what it means to demonstrate the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. Lucy Stone knew what that meant. A voice for those who could not advocate for themselves, Lucy Stone fought for equality and justice. Despite these noble pursuits, we almost lost her to time instead of memorializing her in history. But that's the thing about the Navy. We do not let our values fade. The Navy names ships after people, ideas, and places that are special. And there are no values more sacred to the global world order than equality and justice. And nothing more fitting than to choose Lucy Stone as a namesake, a champion of that cause. As the ship sets sail and carries out its mission, she will represent Lucy Stone's name and values on behalf of the nation and in support of the world. She will serve as a constant reminder of what we hold dear, forever bound to people that the Navy holds dear. I read a description of Lucy Stone's contributions, and a line stood out to me that said she traveled tirelessly, exerting a gentle but commanding presence. It made me smile. That's you, Debbie, Alicia. You connect Navy and the Marine Corps to nation, sailors and Marines to shipbuilders, commanding officer to sponsor, community to tradition. You're never quit, never fail. You're set the bar and then exceed it. You're actively listen and always care is what makes me and everybody that you see here and everybody who's not here but watching have confidence in the work that you do. It is the excellence in your leadership, the depth of your mentorship, the fortitude of your service, and the warmth of your presence. It makes me know in my heart and soul that all who serve on the Lucy Stone cannot, in their wildest dreams, begin to understand just how lucky they are to have you as their ship sponsors. Lucy Stone has been called the morning star of the women's rights movement. Alicia and Debbie, you are the morning stars of the Navy. Under the aura of your light and guidance, we will witness the launch of this great ship, a rare and awesome sight, just like the two of you. Thank you for setting the pace, the standard, and the example. Our Navy and our nation are stronger because of you. I admire you. I'm grateful for you and to you. Thank you, each of you, for being wonderful you.
Thank you, Ms. Berger. Now I'm pleased to welcome the 78th Secretary of the Navy, and no stranger to San Diego, the Honorable Carlos Del Toro.
Good morning, everyone. Morning, San Diego. Come on, you can do better than that. Dave, how are we doing on time? Do I got an hour to talk?
Good.
No? Okay. You know, unlike all our other christenings around the country, you know, this is the one that we got to stay on schedule because the tide waits for no one, not even the Secretary of the Navy. But I do feel compelled to first and foremost to recognize again my predecessor, the 74th Secretary of the Navy, Don Winter, and his wonderful wife, Linda. Some people claim that he is our country's greatest Secretary of the Navy until I came along. But Don, all kidding aside, thank you for your service to our Navy, and Linda, thank you for service to our Navy, and since then, our service to our nation as well, too. And Admiral Wade, how wonderful to have you and your wonderful bride here, Mrs. Wade, as well, too, as you lead our 3rd Fleet. You did spectacular things, both of you out in Hawaii. We're so grateful to you. And now leading the men and women of our 3rd Fleet here who will man some of these great ships is just spectacular, and it's great to see you as well, too. And good to see you, Admiral Lewis, the guy who built my ship, the USS Bulkley in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I asked you for a lot back then, didn't I? Good, you delivered on time and on budget, right? Music to my ears. And speaking of on time and on budget, I do thank David and I thank Rob for delivering these ships and closing the schedule gaps that have existed. When we first built the first one, we were probably 2 years behind schedule for multiple different reasons. And about 2 ships ago, we were about 6 months behind schedule. Today, we're just 9 weeks behind schedule. That's the kind of progress that NASSCO shipyard workers have to be proud of in closing that gap and delivering these timed ships. So how about a big round of applause for all these NASSCO workers here at this great shipyard. It's great to be back in San Diego. We lived here for about 2 years, or at least my wife and children lived here for about 2 years. I was out sailing the seas and in Japan at the time. I always say we moved 17 times in 23 years, and the only time that my children were upset with me, truly upset with me, probably my wife too, was when we left San Diego. So it's good to be back. It's an honor to be here in beautiful San Diego for the christening of our Fleet's 5th John Lewis class replenishment oiler, the Lucy Stone. And first and foremost, again, Alicia and Debbie, I thank you for being here. I thank you for being sponsors of this great ship. As you all know, according to a naval tradition, a ship sponsor's spirit and presence guides the ship and its crew as long as the ship remains in service. And I can think of no one more fitting to take on, as has been said, than both you, Alicia and Debbie. Together, Alicia and Debbie have over 6 decades of service to the Navy, and they don't look like it either. I think we started them off illegally. Providing expertise and guidance to our ship sponsors, our pre-commissioning crews, and ceremony participants in every aspect of Navy surface ship milestones ceremonies. I first met them both actually at the commissioning of the Winston Churchill. And since then, they have participated in the commissioning and christenings of over 300 ships. It's extraordinary. They ensure that our Navy and Marine Corps heroes, Medal of Honor recipients, living namesakes, communities, and cities are properly honored in our fleet in a flawless manner. And everyone who meets them universally unequivocally say that they are the 2 kindest people that you ever met in life. But of course, like I said, I know this personally because they also helped me commission my ship, the USS Bulkley, in the shadows of the World Trade Tower in 2001. Joe and back then, my dearest of friends, Mr. Joe Hanna, led that team. Joe and I spent many weeks and months together planning our commissioning ceremony in New York City. Days that also included 3 fateful days in New York City on 9/11. I'll never forget those trying days with Joe and his team. Joe has since passed away, but his wife, Jeannie, is here today, and I would like her to be recognized for just a brief moment. Jeannie, would you please rise and be recognized? Thank you, Jeannie. President Carver, again, great to see you, and thanks again for the work you do here. Mrs. Stiller, thank you for your leadership as President of the Society of Sponsors. You know how much I care about each and every one of these sponsors, and I commit to you that we will work closely for many, many years, hopefully to come, one way or the other, to make sure that we always pick the very best sponsors that we can for these extraordinary ships. Finally, to our Navy team and industry representatives, thank you for your unwavering support. Today was made possible only because of your tireless efforts. And to all our flag officers and general officers, welcome. Our John Lewis class replenishment oilers honor the legacy of our nation's champions. Each of the ships of this class are named for America's civil rights leader. Lucy Stone, an abolitionist, a suffragist, advocated and organized for the promotion of rights for women and the elimination of slavery itself. Alongside other suffragists, she helped establish the National Women Suffrage Association, a key organization in the fight for women's rights to vote. She lived just as she told others to live, striving every day to make the world better. The enduring legacy of Lucy Stone as a trailblazer in women's rights movement remains an indelible source of inspiration today. How extraordinary that all these years later, today our United States Navy is headed up by the Chief of Naval Operations, a female by the name of Lisa Franchetti. It would not have been possible if it had not been for the efforts of Lucy Stone. And at the United States Naval Academy, for the first time since 1845, we have a female superintendent as well, leading that fine institution. And the John Lewis class replenishment oiler represents only the legacies of these civil rights leaders, but they are indeed a tremendous asset to our fleet and our force, an integral piece to our often complicated yet critical logistics puzzle. This is significant because, as you have seen and heard in the news, we face tremendous uncertainty in every part of the globe. And the nation, and indeed the world, relies on the strength of our United States Navy and Marine Corps. Our Navy's global presence is a powerful deterrent, safeguarding our national security interests, our prosperity, and our international allies and partners from those who do us harm. And in order to maintain sustained operations at sea, our Navy warships rely on the Military Sealift Command's combat logistics fleet. So let me now take a moment to recognize our government merchant mariners who crew our MSC ships. Despite the challenges posed by a shortfall in the numbers, the MSC continues to fulfill a vital role in supporting our nation's logistics readiness. I thank all of our merchant mariners for answering our national call to maritime service and for their ongoing efforts to recruit and maintain our critical capabilities. We need a lot more of these great merchant mariners. It is their vital work and logistical prowess which enables our Navy to project decisive power to operations around the world in peace, crisis, and war. When our sailors and Marines take our warships into combat, our MSC merchant mariners are right there with them, bringing the beans, the bullets, and the black oil they need to stay out to sea until the end of the conflict. Two of our Navy's most important attributes are our flexibility and our persistence. Our Navy's ability to bring decisive forces to bear anywhere in the world on short notice, and our ability to keep the sea and stay on station until the job is done make all the difference in American strategy, possibly only because of the Military Sealift Command. One of my near-term priorities is making the fleet we have more formidable with logistical innovations, such as rearmament C and modular refueling, which will expand our ability to sustain our ships on station and deter our adversaries. Rear Admiral Henry Eccles, the Naval War College's Clausewitz of logistics, once said, "The essence of flexibility is in the mind of the commander. The substance of flexibility is in logistics." Today, the substance of our Navy's flexibility is in the ships of the Military Sealift Command, ships like the USNS Lucy Stone and the intrepid merchant mariners who will take them to sea. And as Secretary of the Navy, I am dedicated to our mission of building and substantiating the most capable and powerful maritime warfighting force in the world. I commend the team at General Dynamics NASSCO for their work in building our future John Lewis class replenishment oilers, including the most recent announced USNS Dolores Huerta, TAO 214, which I just named this past week. 1 year ago, I also announced a call for a new maritime statecraft to prevail in an era of intense competitive strategic competition. Maritime statecraft encompasses not only naval diplomacy and maritime competition, but a national whole-of-government effort to build comprehensive U.S. and allied maritime power, both commercial and naval. History has shown that no great naval power has long endured without also being a maritime power, a commercial shipbuilding power. Our maritime statecraft strategy invests in rebuilding the foundations of national sea power to ensure our continued maritime dominance over the near, medium, and long term. We are diligently working to create a new paradigm of genuine market competition, one that leverages the power of dual-use commercial and naval shipbuilding, which has proven so successful for our competitors and our allies alike. One of the most effective tools we have in our current arsenal of shipbuilding authorities are block buys. And so, today, I am proud to publicly announce the Department of the Navy is pursuing the award of TAO program block buy contract to procure 8 more TAO ships like the USNS Lucy Stone. This multi-billion-dollar contract reflects innovation to build and sustain our maritime dominance and allows for critical investment and maintenance of our shipbuilding industrial base. In turn, this will help ensure the stability and the jobs for the next decade right here in San Diego and California and around the country. And the block buy will provide significant cost savings to the American taxpayer, demonstrating responsible stewardship of public funds. I am proud to make this announcement today alongside our merchant mariners and industry partners. Your contributions to our shipbuilding industry and logistical readiness are vital to our maritime statecraft, and your support is essential for the success of our Navy and Marine Corps. In closing, our nation's maritime services are indeed the most powerful and capable this world has ever seen. And I know that we have the best ships, submarines, aircraft, equipment, and weapons, and I'm grateful to the Congress for providing the authorizations and the appropriations that are necessary to make that happen. But having strong maritime services is about more than just acquiring the advanced systems and platforms. Our people are the foundation of our maritime force. Our sailors, our Marines, our civilian mariners, our shipbuilders ensure that America remains the greatest nation in the world. Thank you, Alicia and Debbie, for your lifelong commitment to our Navy, our civilian mariners, to our servicemen and women, and to the United States of America. You, like the trailblazing women for whom this ship was named, and our Navy sailors and civilian mariners on this ship, represent the absolute best our country has to offer. May God bless you and our servicemen and women stationed all around the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Joe, how's the ship looking? We're good. Okay, we're on schedule. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our first ship sponsor to speak, Ms. Deborah Simmons. Debbie.
Secretary Del Toro, Secretary Winter, Secretary Berger, Vice Admiral Jablon, Rear Admiral Anderson, and Mr. Carver, Captain Apsley. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be with you here today for this christening. In choosing the name, this ship after Lucy Stone, Secretary Mavis and Secretary Berger knew the legacy of this remarkable woman who dedicated her life to freedom and equality for all. Her legacy will continue to be told as this ship sails throughout the world. I would like to thank Secretary Thomas Harker for the incredible honor of inviting me to become a co-sponsor of Lucy Stone, TAO 209, with Alicia. I would also like to thank Secretary Gertz for all of the support that he gave us over the years. I look forward to my association with this remarkable ship for the many years to come. We have several ship sponsors that are here today: Secretary Berger, Allison Stiller, Linda Winter, Rose Magnus, Rosalie Calhoun, Anna Mae Meyer, and Ann Zumwalt. We are truly humbled by your presence and appreciate you being with us here today. It's been such an incredible honor to know these remarkable women over the years who have done so much to support our Navy and the ships in our fleet. I would like to thank my husband, Keith, matrons of honor, my daughters, Elisa, Jennifer, and Jillian, my son-in-laws, Jeff, Mike, and Chris, and my 12 grandchildren, Tyler, Sydney, Jackson, Mitchell, Ryan, Preston, Savannah, Reed, Maya, Caroline, Nathan, Charlotte, and my sister, Lucy.
We're going to have to keep you working,
I
Debbie.
know. That all of you are here today and for your patience and support over the years in allowing me to have the most wonderful job in the Navy. To Alicia, we have been through many events and memorable times together, and I look forward to this journey with you as we support and honor the incredible legacy of Lucy Stone together. Over the many years of coming here, I've watched the dedicated men and women of NASSCO, Soup Ship, MSC, and PEO ships work tirelessly together to design and build these ships for the Navy and the Military Sea Lift Command. For the mariners who will operate these ships that provide essential support for our sailors and the surface fleet throughout the world, thank you for all that you do for our Navy and our country to protect and defend our freedom. I had the opportunity to study at the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa during apartheid with a very dear friend who couldn't be here today. And I witnessed for the first time that not everyone had equal rights, and that freedoms that I had taken for granted, such as an American living in a democracy, didn't exist everywhere in the world. As you've heard, Lucy Stone was an abolitionist, a suffragist who dedicated her entire life to freedom and equality for all men and women. She had the courage, dedication, and passion to fight for women's rights, but she also advocated for freedom for all when slavery existed, often at great sacrifice to her own health. She believed that everyone had the right to freedom, the right for the pursuit of happiness, the right to vote, the right to own property, and the right for equality. She's an inspiration for us, and we owe her a great debt of gratitude. And it's incumbent upon us all to safeguard our freedom and to ensure we do everything we can to protect these rights that we all hold so dear. May God bless America, the United States Navy, and all who sail in the magnificent ship USNS Lucy Stone. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And finally, please welcome our other ship sponsor, Miss Alicia Adnison.
5 minutes till launch time, so I'm going to go fast here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you so much for being here on this truly great Navy Day. Secretary Del Toro, Secretary Berger, thank you so much for taking the time out of your amazingly busy schedules to be with us. Your presence means so much to us. And to Rear Admiral Anderson, thank you for your support over these many years and your unwavering leadership of the Navy acquisition community. I'd like to echo Debbie's gratitude to Secretary Harker, Secretary Gertz, and Allison Stiller for allowing us to serve the Navy in this unique way and special role. And to the ship sponsors joining us today, you continue to enrich our lives in countless ways. And Secretary Winter, thank you for your leadership over these many years. I have the coin in my pocket here for her strength. To my teammate, friend, and now co-sponsor Debbie, it's been such a profound honor sharing this remarkable journey with you, and I can't wait to continue it in a new role. It's been nearly 20 years and exactly 26 NASSCO christenings since I first visited the shipyard in the early days of the TAK program and witnessed firsthand the incredible partnership here on the San Diego waterfront between the United States Navy, the Military Sea Lift Command, and the skilled craftsmen and women of General Dynamics NASSCO. Since that time, we've watched ship after ship sail from the shipyard, take its place in the active fleet, adding significantly to the strength and capability of our naval surface forces, and through the names they bear, honoring our nation's greatest heroes. To the NASSCO and Navy shipbuilding team and the civilian mariners of the Military Sea Lift Command, thank you, each and every one of you, for what you do for our Navy to ensure the safety and security. What you do is so important, and we are profoundly grateful. Mr. Carver, thank you for your leadership and always welcoming us into the shipyard. Special thanks to Michelle, Susie, and Sarah for their own unique contributions to the Navy, and to Carolyn, Nicholas, Jamie Taylor, Robin Christie from our Navy team for doing the heavy lifting for us so we could enjoy this day. 8 years ago, when we first learned that Secretary Mavis had named the 5th John Lewis-class oiler after Lucy Stone, I have to admit I knew very little about her. In spite of what I've come to learn of her unparalleled impact that you heard earlier, her name was largely absent from my high school history books. Over the course of these past few years, I've learned more and more about this remarkable woman and incredible human being, a pioneer in the truest sense of the word, who blazed a path where highways never ran. The last words Lucy spoke to her daughter Alice just before her death in 1893 will make the world a better place. With every breath she took and every word she spoke, Lucy strove to do just that. Hers was a life of courage and consequence, and it is fitting, a matter of some justice and perhaps unfinished business, that her name should grace this beautiful ship that will bring strength and sustenance to the Navy's fleet. People around the world will learn her name, her story, and the breadth of her legacy. Secretary Berger, again, thank you for that recommendation many years ago. To illustrate the impact of Lucy's legacy, one look no further than to our matrons of honor. Elisa, a sociology and psychology major and educator, Jennifer, a pediatric oncology nurse, Jillian, a licensed communications and disorders and speech and pathology therapist, Caitlin, a material and science engineer who's quite literally a rocket scientist working in the space industry and supporting satellite development. All are strong, independent women, mothers, raising beautiful families, strong and caring hearts, working every day to fulfill Lucy's plea to make the world a better place. So thank you all so much. All right, 2 minutes left. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, beloved Tim, children Caitlin and Jackson, who we just talked about, son-in-law Nathan, grandchildren Audrey and Jordan, my sister Kathy, brother-in-law Greg, and my fellow parental units, Ellen and Warren, who are here with us. Thank you so much. My heart is so filled. And to Captain Apsley and the future crew of Lucy Stone, as you prepare to meet the unknown challenges ahead, please know that you have my profound respect, heartfelt thanks, and fervent prayers. They'll sail with you on every mission. I wish you fair winds and following seas, and may God always speed you safely home. Thank you.
Alicia, Debbie, thank you so much. All right, who's ready to see a 50,000 metric ton ship slide down the water? Dave, can you please escort our sponsors and Secretary Del Toro to the Stryker Bar for the christening and launch? Our trigger honoree is downstairs, Mrs. Debbie Carver, and she's standing by. While the sponsors party makes their way to the launch platform, let's hear once again from the Navy Band Southwest.
Test.
Audience, please direct your attention to the Stryker platform. Debbie and Alicia, when you're ready, would you please christen the ship?
United States of America, we christen thee USNS Lucy Stone. May God bless this ship and all who sail in her.
And we have christened and launched the USNS Lucy Stone TAO 209. On behalf of the men and women of General Dynamics NASSCO, thank you for attending the christening and launch of the USNS Lucy Stone. Special thanks to the entire NASSCO Navy christening team for a job well done. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you all for coming. I wish you fair winds and following seas.
Probably good, right? Yeah. I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. How long of a walk was it back to?